What is going on, guys? Welcome to the video. Today we're going to be talking about three key things that could be stopping you from reaching your full potential and leveling up in life. Just a moment, just a second. Uh, be- before we get into the video, I want to talk about. I want to give a quick shout out to the writers of some song that has been in my head for over a year now. Sprinter, Central C. That intro to the song. The intro to the song was one of the hardest songs I've listened to in a while. The intro, the man them to considerate 5-star hotel smoking cigarettes, mixing codeine up with Finnegan. She got thick, but she wanna get thin again. That bar is the bar. That bar is the bar. It's a classic. So whoever wrote that bar, big shout out to you. Anyway, today I want to talk about three key things that could be hindering your progress in life. So just pay attention. These three things could be like key to leveling up in your life. Number one. Number one is you're locked in the past. Now, what usually happens with society is we don't realize that life is a game of seasons. There's good seasons, there's bad seasons. But we take on life like when the bad seasons, when someone is going through a bad season, we tend to make it seem like a bad life. It's just a bad season. Now, over time, things usually happen to us. You lost a brother, you lost a wife, you lost too much money in a business deal, you lost a lot of shit happens. Maybe you had a bad breakup with your girl. Maybe you had a bad breakup with your man, husband, divorce, whatever is going on in your life. There's a lot of shit that happens in the world. But then I was reading a book, Rules of a Game. Was it Neo Strauss? Where I asked, what is the darkest thing that has happened to you? Take a moment and think of the darkest thing that has happened to you that is holding you back in the past. You're locked somewhere in the past. So I took a moment and thought, I had to think of the darkest thing that happened to me. And I thought, last year, 2024, I engaged in a bad business deal. I got large sums of money, invested in a deal that went sideways. It went south. It didn't work out. And it fucked me for like 3 months, 3 whole months. And I kept going back to the past, kept reliving it in my head over and over again. I was like, if I had not ended that deal, I'll be far off in 2025 now. It kept holding me back till I had to bring it to my cautious attention. I had to learn, embrace it, and I had to move on. So you're probably still maybe locked in the past. Maybe you had a bad breakup with a chick and you're worried. You may not get another chick who is as bad as your ex was, or you lost a parent and it's heartbreaking and you're finding it hard to figure things out. But I'm here to tell you that you're not alone and just bring it, just think of the darkest thing that's happened to you, bring it to your cautious station, embrace it, and move on. That's locked in the past. Number two, key thing, and number two, second thing that could be holding you in the same position could be limiting beliefs. Now, there's a lot of BS in society today where we are told things like a lot of limiting beliefs, like you cannot get a job because you have less connections. You're not well connected. You have few connections, so you can't get a job. I I, I personally think to to some extent, it is true, but it's 50-50. To some extent, it's true. To the other percentage, I feel like it's an excuse we use. It's an excuse we use to not try hard to grind for that job. And you don't necessarily should be looking for a job. You could start like a side hustle or something. Most times we are locked in that loop that I only I'm only supposed to earn from a job. But you could create something like a business. So that limiting belief is like very common in society today. We are more people in our country, Uganda. From Uganda, just so you know, proud Ugandan. We have a lot of limiting beliefs. Another limiting belief is I cannot make it out of this. I cannot break the cycle because I come from a poor background. It's gonna be hard to break the cycle because I'm not from a wealthy family. You're playing the victim. You're playing the victim, and it's gonna become your reality because you've fully convinced your conscious mind that just because you come from a humble background, you're gonna make a humble background too. You're gonna make a humble family. A humble family is coming from you. A humble family is coming from you too. How did I pass the microphone to the side? Anyway, there's a lot of limiting beliefs. Connections, you can't get a job because you're fully connected. That's a limiting belief. You can't make it out of the hood because you're from a poor background. That's a limiting belief. By far, the worst limiting the another limiting belief is how society has normalized that only made looking women can make a marriage work. I've had I've had I've had I've had of that conversation a lot with colleagues. I've had that conversation a lot with colleagues. And I'm on the opposing side that I don't fully believe only the made looking women can make a marriage work. Because men tend to believe that if, say, I'm at work, I'm not gonna be worried as much because my wife is made. If she was as pretty, I'm gonna be on too much tension and the marriage won't work. That's a limiting belief, man. That's a limiting belief. You would rather be stressed over an 8 than be stressed over a 4 or 5. There's no point in there's no point in degrading. There's no point in getting like a 4, 5 just because society said it's the 4 5s that make marriage work. That's a limiting belief I don't fully believe in. Third key reason that could be holding you in the same position, you're circling back in the same position, you're not making any progress. It could be the long term bias. The long term bias is where, for example, if you studied like to be a lawyer, a doctor, the high status core jobs, lawyer, doctor, engineer, accountant, auditor, whatever the case. I studied finance, Macquarie University. But long term bias is like, let me give you an example. I cannot, I do not want to be a salesman. Say I'm selling shoes. I don't want to sell shoes because I may be labeled as a shoe salesman in the long term. Why not be seen only as as an auditor, as an accountant, as a doctor, engineer, lawyer, whatever the case. So most times, plenty people have seen plenty men choose to not do the short-term thing that could help them pay the bills. Short-term thing, just a short-term situation. As you working towards as you building your career. It's just a short-term side hustle as you building your career. But most times, see a lawyer. A lawyer is not gonna be, say, a marketing specialist for a year or two as he's building up money on the side. As he's building up money on the side to finance his lawyering, maybe law firm. You can get money in the side hustle, support your law firm, and it becomes like a big brand. Or even better yet, you could get the discipline you used studying that law degree, the bar course, whatever. Then you could put all that discipline in a business, and you could grow that business. Then you won't need to be a lawyer anymore. Because the whole point is just chasing the bag. The status quo, the high status quo that you're a lawyer, you're what, the guys who are like downtown Chiku and they're getting loads of money, loads and loads of money. Selling, traders, selling car spare parts, cameras. I have a friend, he's balling in cameras. Living a good life. Just because we don't want to be labeled as a trader in the short term, because you're scared, you have that fear. That in the long term, when you start being a trader, you may be labeled as a trader, or you may be locked into that field as a trader in the long run. So, three key things that you need to bring to your conscious attention. It's either you're locked in the past, limiting beliefs, the long-term bias. You can make that switch, man. You can make that switch. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna wrap up the video. That is it for today, and we can keep the conversation going in the comments. Like, new to the channel, subscribe, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Cheers. Yep.